Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you all doing on this beautiful Sunday morning? So good to see some smiling faces here this morning. Do you want to sing with us, God You Are? God you are every mountain, God you are every ocean, God you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God you are every morning, God you are every midnight, God you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Yeah. God, you are every sunrise, God, you are every moon glow, God, you are every star shine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime, God, you are every snowfall, God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. 'Cause you are the very breath I breathe. Ooh, and your perfect love created me. Everything I see, everything I do, and everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I am is you.
Thank you, thank you. Welcome. We're so happy to have our glory singers with us. Welcome, Carol, and it's just so wonderful just to have all of you here. We're grateful to have our sound as it just simply, Leah, having been here, every day for 15 years, about maybe 12, something like that. We are very grateful for that. Pam has taken over on a live stream upstairs, and we have someone new, Jordan, who we welcome and are so grateful to have you as part of that. Because part of what is so important to us is that it's available to everyone, that you don't have to be sitting in a building in order to see it. So we just, first of all, welcome. Good morning. It's a fabulous morning when we get to open up to a possibility of the life and the love and the presence that is within us. Now, I have a feeling a few of us this week might not have felt that way. Anybody feel like, okay, I got to get through this, I got to get through this, I got to get through that. Right now, life is inviting us in. It's inviting us to allow ourselves to be transformed at depth. We start with a song that uses the word God. Some of you may say, I want something larger, a broader term. What I believe we're getting to do, and David Hawkins speaks of this idea as patterns of energy. As patterns of energy. And when we look at one presence and one power, this infinite quantum field that we live and move and have our being within, it's a pattern of energy. And it's the energy of love. What the universe is saying is, here, let me help you take what is within and make it without. And to allow it to spread around us. And we are in one of the greatest times of change we've ever met in this country. And I believe every one of us has everything we need to meet every day of our lives and everything right where we are, and to know that we will be transformed at death as we open to the pure potentiality of Spirit and say, here I am. Here I am. Infinite presence, Lord, life, here I am. I'm willing to know a larger truth. I'm willing to understand a deeper meaning. I'm willing to let go of all the stuff that has bound me. Here I am. And so as we gather this morning, I just would invite you to let go of all the stuff and move to here I am. Infinite, here I am. Let's begin this service in prayer. And as we breathe in that sacred breath, here I am. I breathe in and I know that life, divine life, is filling me, vibrating through me, each of us right now. We move into that heart space simply saying, here I am. I am willing to know a larger picture, to understand the movement of Spirit that it invites me right now to let go of all that has bound me and to step into this world without judgment, without fear, with simply knowing I am one with the infinite presence. As we gather this morning with that knowing, we encircle our globe as we begin this Pride Month and this month of saying yes to every being everywhere and an enlarging understanding that we are all one. We gather this morning holding a space of love, of peace, and the pure potentiality of Spirit. And so it is. Amen. And so I didn't actually say it. I'm Reverend Lisa Davis, part of the crew here at Unity of Portland, and Beth is here to share some of what's happening in our community.
Good morning. There is a lot happening here in the community. We are grateful. I first want to take the opportunity to welcome our virtual family, anybody who's watching with us online, if this is your first time with us this morning or maybe during the week. Our volunteers are putting up a QR code that you can snap a picture of, and you can get on our mailing list. That also happens if you fill out a green card. So when Reverend Lisa talks about that later, if you're new, make sure you do that. We are a ministry based on intentional prayer, and we do offer that to you all the time, especially here on Sunday mornings in person. If our prayer chaplains would please stand. If you need prayer this morning, we invite you to come forward following the service. One of our prayer chaplains will be grateful to pray with you. You can also fill out a prayer request slip that's in the back of your chair, or there's some in the lobby. You can place those in our prayer box, which is here in our sanctuary. They hold that prayer for 30 days, and then they send it on to Silent Unity, where it's also held for another 30 days. We also offer Dial-A-Prayer, which, if you don't know, that's an inspiring message that you can call during the week if you need a lift, a little pick-me-up. It's a great opportunity to get that. So we have some cards out there, actually, that have that number on it. So you might want to pick one of those up as well. Today, following the service, we invite you to join us for some coffee and connection downstairs. I'm very excited to say that I have all the Sundays covered. Yay! And I want to thank Steve and Annette for getting the ball rolling. And now we have the men's group, the board of directors, the chaplains, and one group of very loving first of the month volunteers who are coming in to do coffee and connection every week. So we're so grateful, so grateful for that. So after you grab that coffee today, you can head over to Reverend Lisa's orientation, new member orientation class, which is happening in the chapel following the service. If you have filled out a new member application, or if you're considering that you might want to do that, her class today will orient you on everything that you need to know, and we will be having our new member Sunday service in the upcoming weeks. So make sure that, that you join that today. We also want to mention the 20 and 30 somethings group. They're going to be meeting downstairs in one of the team rooms following Coffee and Connection, probably about 11:30. So if you fit in that category, make sure you pop in and join them. They would love to have you part of their group. So happy Pride. We're going to get right into some Pride announcements here. We got it going on. We continue our Pride project this week. And you guys have been doing so great bringing these hearts back. Drew Rains created these wonderful hearts. When you open them up, they've got our QR code, they've got information about Unity of Portland, and we are asking you to write love notes to people who could use a little encouragement, you know? And I had put in the newsletter this week, we were at 250, and I found out today we're like at 450. So we are close to that goal. So we have some more packets out there. If you can take a packet of 10, if you can stay after church today and have a cup of coffee and write 10 love notes, we'd love for you to do that. So just to let you know, we're pretty close, and we just want to push that over the goal, and let's spread that love all over Portland. It really feels good. We also have a few slots for volunteers for the Pride booth. We have got a Pride booth this year down for the festival on the 18th and 19th. That's a Saturday and a Sunday. We've got just a few 2-hour slots left. If you'd like to share the good word that we are open to all and welcome everybody here to be on their spiritual journey, we invite you to come and help us do that. So next Sunday, June the 12th, Letters for Democracy is going to have a letter writing party in the chapel. They've been doing this just to help get the vote out, and we welcome you to come and join them. If you cannot make it next week, they would like you to stop by the bookstore Monday through Thursday in the afternoon. They'll give you a packet. They will give you instructions, making it so easy for you. Again, here at Unity Spiritual Center of Portland, we are putting feet on our prayers. So help us do that. And in that light, I am going to ask Maren Palmer to come up and talk to you about some petitions that she has brought with her today for us to sign. Maren, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Beth. So I've been volunteering with a nonprofit that's called Lift Every Voice Oregon. They're circulating a petition. Initiative 17 is a gun safety measure to have everyone who purchases a firearm require a permit, and also limit the capacity of the amount of ammunition. So if you are interested, I'll be in the back after the service getting signatures. We need 125,000 signatures to get this thing on the Oregon ballot for November, so we all have a chance to vote on it. And, you know, it's just, it seems like it might be, you know, things out there happening. For me, it's a really personal thing here in Portland. You know, I live in Outer East Portland, and there have been, you know, homicides 2 blocks from my son's school. Right after school got out, there's, you know, it's everywhere, it's around us, and this is one small thing we can do to try to make a change. So I'll be in the back. If you're online, you can also go to lifteveryvoiceoregon.com and print out a petition and do it at home as well. So thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And those are some of the things that we can do that make a difference, because the only way we actually change some of this is for things to get on the ballot. And so our intention is, and I had no idea until Maren brought this in, and it's come up through some of the different organizations, that literally we're just being asked to get them on the ballot. It's not about whether or not they're voted in, it's just can they get on the ballot, and that what they need are people taking petitions to different places to do it. So I just invite you to realize that and to let ourselves do that. We've also had several people asking, well, what are we doing as a community? And one of the things this brings to mind is that our intention has been, and the pandemic kind of got in the way, but to have teams who are working with climate change, teams who are working in the area of dissolving these bounds of the institutional racism, who are working in the LGBTQ community, such as we are right now with the Pride Festival and the different things, and working in this idea of gun safety. What are we doing to say every life is divine and we need to do this? So this morning there's also a sign-up sheet out on the table if you would like to be a part of a team, because it takes people gathering together and saying, I want to make a difference. Maren has done it beautifully with this piece of it, but this is just one time. And so ongoing, if you'd like to be a part, and it takes leadership. It takes somebody saying, this is important to me, I need this to happen. Drew has done it beautifully in some of the Pride things and other people who have supported her in that. And this is what we're working on. So if you'd like to be a part of that, go ahead and sign up for that. We want to take a moment and welcome all of you who are here for the first time or you haven't been here in a long time. We have a guest packet for you. Anybody here for the first time or you haven't been here in a long time? Wonderful. We are happy that you are with us. We know that wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you're welcome here. We believe that every being is a whole infinite creation of the infinite intelligence of the universe. Now that may sound a little funky and the words may seem funny, but when we really look at that, what is the idea that's being asked for all of us to take into our hearts and to live? It's that idea. We're all included. We all have a space, and we're here to change that. If this community works for you, we would encourage you to become a part. I believe it's really important right now to find a place where we can connect, where we can be a part and make a difference. And it requires all of us going outside of our comfort zones. If it doesn't work for you, I would encourage you to continue seeking. Find a place that does say words and ideas that you believe in and that allow you to know a larger part of yourself, because that's truly what we're doing. So we're happy to have all of you here, and we are going to stand and sing.
Yes. All that I need. You ready?
Okay.
All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. Yes, all that I need comes to me. I've been set free. I've been set free. I'm released. I've been set free. I'm released. The burden of my past has gone away at last. I've been set free. I'm released. Sweet rain that washes me clean. Sweet rain that washes me clean. Mine creates all things, into my life it brings. Sweet rain that washes me clean. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. Yes, all that I need comes to me. Yes, it does. Yes, all that I need comes to me.
Oh, yes, it does. And I would just invite you to turn to those around you with just simply a welcome. Namaste. The divine in me greets the divine in you. We walk this journey together. And you know, so much of this this movement that we're asked to make, because life is lived from the inside out. And that means that the within is always invited to know a larger story, to remember the truth of who we are, and that we have come as a part of the transformation, a part of the change that's happening on this planet. As much as we may want to say, if this and this and this would just happen, or if somebody else would just do something differently, I'd be okay. What I find is that life uses everything in our lives to invite us to open, to let go, and to know a larger story. And we find that in meditation. When we can completely let go of our fears and our cares and our concerns and simply sit in silence, the wisdom that's available flows through us. And so just as we spend a teeny bit of time in silence this morning, I just invite you to remember that wisdom is always present, always available, and always flowing.
In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace, and I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment there is peace.
In the stillness of this moment, I relax. I let go. And within my very being, I know there is peace. Turning my attention within, breathing in fully, holding that breath, and breathing out completely. There is peace as I sit in the silence. There is peace. As I acknowledge a presence, a very vibration that fills me, that reminds me of the truth, I am that I am. I know that I am all that I need right now. God in me, Spirit present, vibrating in and through and as me now, reminds me there is peace in this breath, in this moment. And so it is. Amen.
In the stillness of this moment, there is love. There is love. In the stillness of this moment, there is love. There is love. And I rest and trust and breathe and know I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment I feel love. I'd invite you to participate with us in this next song. It's called Om Shanti. And as you may have heard this in the past, Om is the great sound of the universe and of our inner self at the same time of eternity. And Shanti is a word for peace. And I guess in all the craziness of our world, I've realized that finding inner peace and holding on to that peace in the midst of what goes on around us is one of my highest aspirations, to keep that and let those ripples of peace permeate through the life and all those that I see throughout my life. So you guys are welcome to sing this with us as well. Peace inside my mind, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my heart, peace inside the earth, right?
Let there be peace in my mind. Let there be peace in the earth.
Here we go.
Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om.
Peace inside.
Peace inside my mind, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside my mind, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Om Shanti, Om.
Peace inside.
Peace inside my heart, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my heart, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside the earth, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside the earth, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om.
Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om.
Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This idea, could you feel anything there? It's one of the oldest chants known to humankind. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And the idea of opening to something larger. Now, you may not have grown up hearing that. I have a feeling quite a few of us in this room didn't grow up with this universal greeting and this universal idea. But what's happening in our world as we become a global community, really a global family, and we find more and more and more that what's happening out there is touching us in here. We get to realize that there is a universal call for something so much more. There's a universal call. You know, David Hawkins, in his Power versus Force, said that literally, and he talked about patterns of energy, that power is the power of spirit, and that force are the low energy ideas that humankind has accepted and allowed to be imprinted upon them. Anybody have any? Anybody grow up thinking they're not whole, infinite, complete? I want to hear that one, just there. Any of us? Do we think that anything that's happening on the planet right now has anything to do with that idea? Or maybe anything that's happening in this country? What's fascinating is then that with this idea of force, and Martin Luther King said it so well, this arc for good may be long, but it's always there. And there's always good that results. David Hawkins says power, spirit, and the ideas that have power always wins over force. Because force they're low energy ideas that humanity has come to walk through and to set aside and to rise above. And guess where we are? We're in that place. And what's fascinating is our lives are always that place. But sometimes we're able to kind of compartmentalize it and say good and only good happens here, and it does. But sometimes good is the time we hit the pavement face down, and life won't allow us to go any further until we change a belief. Has anybody hit that place any time in their life? I think they used to call them breakdowns. Now we recognize, no, that's the soul. It's the universal evolutionary impulse of humanity that is saying there's more to know and to be seen and to understand. And you're the one in this space, in this time, to know it. And what's fascinating is usually we say, well, if they would just change and this would change and that would change and this would happen and this would change in my body, I'll be okay. I went out there and I was just standing in our entryway today, just holding space because honestly, I've written 3 messages now. And the third one was in my head this morning as I got up at like 6 saying, that's not what I'm supposed to be saying. But I was looking at the booklets that are out there. And what fascinated me was I thought, okay, one of them's worthy. Now, this is written through Unity Worldwide Ministries, and it is it's the LGBTQ stories of overcoming rejection and religion to find truth. Because many of the people that live in their journey and simply, let's say, has anybody experienced where religion didn't support you? I was shocked when Billy Mixer, who made his transition this year, but he came to me and he said, I'd like to share my story of the times that my family put me through conversion therapy. I'd like to share the story with the community that thinks who I am is enough because I didn't experience that growing up. And hearing his story made me realize as we're in Pride Month that's an idea that somehow we took on, that this person's okay and that person is not okay. We did it as a country. You're Native American, you're not human. You're this, you're not that. You're this, you're not that. That's an idea that is having to come out and be thrown to the ground. And yeah, there's people saying, no, no, no. But the truth is, that idea is already moving out. It's moving out around the idea, around the world. You can see it. One of the Unity ministers, one of my friends, he led the first Pride Parade in Tobago. I want to say last year, because that was the first time they get. And he talked about what it was like to bring in that idea in a place that had not allowed it. And it was amazing to see the overwhelming support that came out once the little battle was done. But this booklet was written to say, you have within you all that you need, regardless of what anybody else has told you. And then I looked at the next one. It's the spiritual journey from addiction to recovery. And guess what the message is? You have within you all that you need to do all that needs to be done to shift this experience. And then spiritual support for caregivers and those who love them. This is for people who are caregiving, and we have one on people who are dealing with cancer, and then this one is peaceful passing. Every one of them was the message, you have within you all that you need to transform whatever old ideas are left in you and shift to a higher understanding. That's what we're doing individually. Wherever you are in your world, I can guarantee you, if you're feeling it, there's something to be transformed. There's something to be let go of. There's something to be transformed. And collectively, if you live in the United States, there's something to be transformed right now. We're dealing with it. June is going to be quite a month. It is Pride Month. And I'm excited that for the first time, Unity Spiritual Center of Portland has a Pride booth. And we will be there anchoring that and saying, of course you are whole and worthy. We actually have 1,000 of these worthy booklets. Now they're expecting, 20,000 people. So I don't know how far they'll go. But if you haven't signed up for a time to be at that booth, do you know what it does to simply look at every being you see with an inner knowing you are worthy? It's called the art of blessing. And we can take the life presence that's within us and know it for another when they may or may not know it for themselves. Or sometimes life has told them over and over, they're not. You're not, I'm not. That's what we're here to do, is to change that. So that's exciting. It's also Juneteenth. It's the first time that that's both a national holiday and a state holiday here in Oregon. And so the Juneteenth is the same weekend as Pride Weekend, so I don't exactly know how that's going to go. But Juneteenth is still the idea of shifting from what this country lived on. And we may think it has nothing to do with me. It does. It's another place where we get to say, where have I held an idea that I'm better than them? That I know more, whatever it is, it's these old ideas and moving them out. And we'll talk about that. It is also Gun Violence Awareness Month. And interestingly enough, I hope that the gun violence, at least Mara, maybe I'm wrong, but that was what it said when I looked it up, and I was like, when did that happen? I didn't know that. But in fact, I think I got it off of Lift Every Voice's Facebook page, but I could be wrong. If it's not, my desire is that we become so aware of what's happening that we can no longer allow that thought in that whatever it is that has allowed this to happen, which again, I take back to the basic idea. We were started with all men, all beings are created equal. We allowed other ideas to found the country. We're the ones that are the change we like to see. So I balance that and this really heavy-duty change. Have you felt it in your, the actual body, in your emotions? Have you seen any of that? That is an invitation to allow ourselves to be cleaned out and to look at our own being and say, where is this happening to me? Now, again, in Power versus Force, David Hawkins goes through the levels of our consciousness. And if we get stuck down in shame and blame, anybody been in blame? If I can just blame them, then I'm free. That actually isn't part of transformation. I was so disappointed when I realized blame is not part of transformation. It will not transform our lives. And for us to transform our lives in this country, we have to get to the stuff that holds us back. Because we aren't going out there and buying guns and this ammunition, stuff like that. But where do we have in our heart a fear, an anger, a belief that we're not enough, that there isn't enough to take us through, that things are happening? Someone came after Sunday and said, well, what about evil? It looks like evil. And Elaine and Elise, I am so glad, because he's asked me several times, and Unity has always said there's one presence and one power. And I say it with so much strength. I'm sure everyone sitting there says, oh yeah? What about this? And what about this? And what about this? So I want to bring it up because how I was raised, and oh, did I fight? Oh my God, I remember my mother, who was a Unity minister, I remember standing there like 14 saying, I don't believe any of this, because look what happened here. And she'd say, yes, dear, those are old thoughts that are coming up to being healed. David Hawkins, of course, calls it force. And he said, it can gather so much energy. It's a lower energy, and it will weaken us. And you can feel yourself. You start thinking about this, and you find yourself weak. And he basically says we have to choose the thought patterns that allow ourselves to overcome that. And he labeled them with the levels of power. And you can find this in Power versus Force, which is one of the books. Periodically, I actually give out the chart of consciousness that it shows you. But basically, the anger, the shame, the blame, I think the anger is next. And then basically, until it gets to courage, we don't have a thought of power. The courage to make a difference, the courage to meet our problems, the courage to stand up and say, there's more than this. We don't have to blame anybody. We don't have to hate anybody. In fact, I think we have to heal that. We have to stand in a place that says, there's more than this. We are more than this. And when we do, something begins shifting. So our desire to meet that and then go beyond that and build a life that both individually meets what's there. We have to be willing to meet what's present in our lives and believe that it works for good. There can be so much force. There can be so much. And the first question I usually get in classes, by the way, when we say there's one presence and one power, is what about Hitler? That used to be the first question I got. You know what I was most afraid of the first time I taught a class? Was that question. These are old ideas that literally humanity had, and he allowed to grow in him. And it went to a point where it was horrendous. There's no doubt about it. And gradually, the power of, this is wrong. We can't do this, shifted and moved through there. As human beings, I don't know why we have these patterns of energies. They actually talked about it in the chaos theory. And the first time they used, which is when it looks like chaos, it's actually not chaos. It's a pattern. It makes an 8. And it has to be unwoven before it can form at a higher level. Right now, we're in the request to unweave the patterns that have been present. That means we have to acknowledge our part. We have to stand up and say, wait a minute, something needs to be done. I guess I'll show up and not just sign a petition, but I'll take it and move it. It's like we have to be able to take what we have individually and collectively. Charles Fillmore, and it's, we have to keep reminding ourselves, he said, wherever substance is at all, substance is the quantum field. It's the air in and through and as us. It's the vibrant energy of life. David Hawkins calls it power. Wherever substance is at all, the whole of substance must be. And because substance is omnipresent, everywhere present, there is no place that this substance is not. The whole of universal substance must be present at every point in space at the same time. At the same time. So when we've been practicing and looking at the idea of aligning with abundance, it was kind of an odd topic considering where we are on the planet. But the abundance of the universe is present at every point. It's present in us. When we get the big idea, I'm worthy, I'm more than this thing that's in my life. Oh, wait a minute. The universe is conspiring to move me forward. It's inviting me to take that which has taken me down and to allow myself to find the power thought, the patterns of energy that are higher than we have known. And then to join with another. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin says that evolution happens as the ideas gather together with other ideas, and then they form what he called a peduncle, which obviously he was in the, what was he, in the 40s? I don't think his work wasn't published. He was a scientist. It wasn't published until after his death because he was a part of the Catholic Church that was exiled all over the world. But his ideas were that the way that we evolve is we have to join together. And that's the part that often we were taught, just pray and you'll get through it. You will get through it. But the requirement is pray and touch another. Pray and make a difference. Pray and hold a thought, hold an idea. This is fundamental spiritual law. When we really are willing to know ourselves as a spiritual being, we experience a fulfilling of the law. And Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, this is one of the things he said, there is now incontrovertible evidence that humankind has just entered upon the greatest period of change the world has ever known. The ills from which we are suffering have had their seat in the very foundation of human thought. It's called separation. Charles Fillmore believed that the definition of hell was separation from our source, our ground of being. And that was what he called it. But today, something is happening to the whole structure of human consciousness. A fresh kind of life is starting. And of course, this had to have been written in the 40s. In the face of such upheaval, actually shaken by it, no one can remain indifferent. Swept along by the tide of affairs, what can we do to see clearly and act decisively? No matter what reactions we may have to current events, we ought first to reaffirm a robust faith in the destiny of humankind, where we're moving. And he believed, he wrote a book called The Phenomena of Man. And he said, humankind is the consciousness, the evolutionary consciousness, the movement of spirit on this planet. And we are being called and forced. He said, it isn't really a question. Anybody tried not to evolve? I'm not going anywhere. Nobody's bothering me. I'm just going to put in my little fence. And in some ways, we've been successful. It is excruciatingly painful to wall ourselves off. All it does is, it's kind of like I've been told, it's like trying to hold beach balls underwater. It doesn't work, but we try it. Instead, we get to find, whoa, wait a minute, I'm a part of humankind. That means I'm a part of the evolution of the planet. I'm a part of the change. I'm a part of this movement. And there's more in me right here. So what is in my life? What is it? We get to take all of it, and then we get to know that something more will come from it. And if we think I don't have enough, Stephen Covey tells a story that I love. And he said, the hottest place on the planet recorded was actually in 1913. And it was 134 degrees on July 10th, 1930, in California's Death Valley. Now, they say there's been other times, but they haven't been official, but literally it was that. Well, it was fascinating, and it's just nothing grew there. It's just always dead. But interestingly enough, when was it? I think 2005, literally they had a rainstorm. It only lasted about 2 hours, but more rain fell there than had fallen in the last decade put together. The next year, when people came into Death Valley, it was covered with flowers. One rainstorm that they're aware of in one time. And people said, how could that be? There's no life here. It was simply dormant. The ideas that we seek to overcome these major issues, I'm not belittling them at all. They're already in our DNA. We already know we're one. We know it. Now we got to let go of all the ideas of somebody who told us we weren't part of the one. Everybody else might be, but we weren't. Or that they weren't, or that they weren't. But the universe is there within us. It's just been dormant. So the invitation right now, when we align with abundance, we take all the junk that's in our lives. We trust that within our DNA are the answers, or that stuff wouldn't be there. And we take a step into knowing we're enough and more than enough for what's there. Thank you. You know, Pema Chodron says, when there is great disappointment, we don't know if that's the end of the story. It may just be the beginning of a great adventure. It's hard sometimes to say this is the beginning of a great adventure, but it is. And we get to be a part of it. As we take time to receive our tithes and our love offerings, our blessings, I want to say, first of all, May was our month of special giving. I want to thank all of you who were a part of it at home and here. We actually raised, with a match, $23,370 above and beyond our usual giving. So thank you. That makes a huge difference for being in this building. And I just say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And just the response of so many people saying, I can do this. Thank you. And I know together we're so much more. So in just a moment, they have baskets that will pass. There's also, hopefully there's cards around you that show you the different ways you can give. I know we'll put it up here. But in the backs of the seats are also cards where whether you're sending a check to Unity of Portland, you're texting and the, Unity of Portland to 833-814-3477, or you're going on our website. It's an opportunity to be a part of the giving and the knowing that the universe, we're just simply a part of that flow. And we can think, oh, I don't have what I need. Actually, we have what we need, but we get to see enough right where we are. We get to see enough in this country, in our lives, and in who we are. So I'm going to say our blessing, and then I'd invite you to affirm it with me. Here we go. I have one of these cards that I use because I'm on the automatic giving, so that it just simply takes it out of my bank account easily and gracefully, and I no longer have to try and remember. And we have cards if you want, or if you're on that program and would like one, there in the back. But just holding whatever it is that we see as this opportunity, as our economy is our consciousness. It's really a consciousness. And so beginning to open our consciousness to enough, and knowing that divine love is the vibrating energy that will open us. It will teach us what we think we don't need to learn. I am learning that every day. But the idea of divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Let's affirm that together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen.
I'm a part of you. You're a part of me. Together living out the script of history. You and me are walking one another home. There's a part of me. There's a part of you. There's a part of God in everything we see and do. Together we are walking one another home. Since the dawn of time, there is a great light light. It is guiding us and calling us back home. We are a part of all that is, everything that was. We're walking on this journey back to where we're from. So take my hand, we're walking one another home. Since the dawn of time, there is a great light. It is guiding us and calling us back home. We are a part of all that is, we're everything that was. We're walking on this journey back to where we're from. So take my hand, we're walking one another home. You and me, you and me, we're walking one another home. And welcome back, we are finally coming home.
Oh, yes. Thank you, thank you. We are walking one another home, one of Ram Dass's statements. You know, Jesus in John 12:32 said, I, when I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all men to myself. This is a spiritual statement. I, when I am, that means God in me, is literally when we allow ourselves to be lifted in consciousness. We draw and offer openings for all of humanity to see something more. When we're willing to walk out today and see every being as a divine creation of the infinite, we will open, literally open in them a consciousness. We can do it anytime we want. We can do it with our family. We can hold a truth for them that they may never show outside, but it will move within. And so in just a moment, we're going to sing Let There Be Peace on Earth and Let It Begin With Me. But remember, when we're willing to hold an idea that is larger, it will not just draw us up. It will draw humanity into that larger idea because it has power. It has the power of the universe within it. So let's stand and join hands and sing, Let There Be Peace on Earth and Let It Begin With Me.
Here we go. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
Oh, yes. Thank you, thank you. Just to let you know, our chaplains will be up here to pray with you. You're invited to go downstairs for Connection Hour. Marin will be in the back, or in the entryway with her petition. I'd invite you to sign that. And I will be in the chapel at 11:30. So have some coffee, Connection. We invite you to be a part. We're going to close with our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us.
Love of God enfolds us.
The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God. Have a love-filled week.
All that I need
Comes to me.
love and grace, shines upon my veins. All that I need comes to me. I've been set free. I've been set free. I'm released. I've been set free. I'm released. The burden of my past has gone away at last. I've been set free. I'm released. Sweet rain that washes me free. Sweet rain that washes me free. Mine creates all things, into my life it brings. Sweet rain that washes me free. Sweet rain.